Oh boy, a lot was revealed as usual on this episode. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Sistas. This is season 1, episode 15. Like I said, we had a lot that was brought up and we just are like, okay, what's next, Tyler? What is really going on here? So dig this. Aaron and Zach gets to fighting. Flat out. They get to fighting down at Karen's apartment. Tearing up the apartment. And breaking glass and carrying on. Zach accidentally popped Karen in the process. And when he did that, he kind of got, because he was jacking Aaron up. He was jacking Aaron up. He was. Let's be honest. Zach was busting Aaron up. He popped her, and then he kind of jumped back out of it and was like, oh my God, wait a minute. And then that's when Aaron got him, honey, and did him in a little bit. So he got a couple of hits in, but all in all, I would say Zach won the fight. But anyway, they did all of that little stuff, and they were, after Aaron left, Zach and Karen started going back and forth. Literally. Now listen, they were both right and they were both wrong. They were. They were both right and they were both wrong. She gave him his checks back and told him to get out. As he was leaving, he knocked over the television and said, I bought this. And I was like, as much as I like my cute Zach, that turned me off. That turned me off. I have a real problem about men who buy things and then take them back, or buy things and then want to tear them up because they bought them. Listen, when it's over, it's over. Gifts were gifts. Just pack up your things and just go on. Don't do that. I just find that to be such a turn off, and it's so ghetto. It's so ghetto. But I didn't like that. But anyway, he ended up rolling out. Andy and Sabrina are out there talking. They're talking about Sabrina's thing. They're outside the club. They're still at the club. So they're outside the club waiting on Rat and everything. I think they call like an Uber or whatever. But they're waiting. And Sabrina's blaming Maurice for everything that actually went down with the little situation over her house. And I was like, you played part in that too. I didn't like the part that Maurice played in it. I just think it was just messy as hell. But she played a part in it too. You know, it's horrible. And Calvin shouldn't want to be bothered with you. But whatever. So they end up running into the old boy from the law firm again outside. And he offers Andy a ride. And she's like, no, you were drinking too. He's like, oh no, I have a driver. So she's like, I don't want to drive. You know, this, that whole thing. She's like, no, I'm just going to go with my girl. This, that thing, and the other. So he goes on. I was like, well, he's kind of a catch. You know, he's something else. So let's move on. And then we got Aaron and Karen. Aaron comes back to the door a little bit after Zach left. And he's like, I could pay for this. And he's all sad. She wouldn't let him in or whatever. And he says, you know, that he's staying with a friend or whatever. She's like, you need to go home. He's like, I don't want to be there. This, that thing, and the other. And they're having this little back and forth pull. And it was driving me crazy because we were doing the Tyler Perry thing and he was stretching the scene out. I'm like, listen, she didn't let him come in. Told him to go on home. That was that. She ain't let him in. End of story. She was leaving anyway because she ended up going over to stay at Andy's house. So that was that. Neither one of them wanted to go home. So that was the other thing. He kept telling her, you can't stay in your house like that. And she's like, you can't come in because there's too much glass all over the place and whatever. He didn't want to tell her shut up. But anyway, moving on. So let's go over Danny's house. Baby, Danny and Preston are getting it in. Listen, I'm so here for Preston right now. Anyway, Preston. We like Preston, honey. Anyway, so Zach walks in and walked dead in on it. I mean, dead in on it, like mid-stroke. A whole mess. So Preston ends up getting up. He's like, no, I'm leaving. Puts his clothes on. She's like, who? He's like, who is that? She's like, he's nobody, whatever. So they go back and forth. He tells her, that we're going to definitely do this again. We're going to finish this. And I'm going to show you my 3-pony trick. I said, oh, wait a minute. So they go through all that. He kisses her and he roll out. Baby, she's pissed. She's completely pissed. She's kind of getting the background on what Zach said. She's like, just get out. Just get out. He's like, I can't go nowhere, whatever. She's like, fine, stay. But then you're going to have to listen to me finish what you interrupted. I said, she is such a buzzard. She is such a buzzard. And she literally went up underneath her bed, got her vibrator out, honey. And he was in the other, it's one big room. He's on the other side of the little divider listening to her tearing herself down, honey. I said, a whole hot mess. Anyway, so Andy, like I said, Andy and Karen goes over to Andy's house. She's like, can I sleep with you? She's spending the night over there. I'm not going through that whole scene. It was a long, drawn-out Tyler Perry scene about nothing. They got each other's back. Psh, done. I ain't going to go sit through that again. I was mad-headed to sit through it the first time. Anyway, then we got Danny and Zach at work the next day. Well, before Danny didn't go to work yet. This is at her house, getting ready to go to work. She's talking to him, and he's telling her, well, wait a minute. You know what? I got a question because there's something that ain't sitting right with me. And he starts telling her about the baby timeline. The timeline about when he slept with Helena and how pregnant she claims that she is and all of this. And he said he only slept with her once. And she's like, are you kidding me? So you are just thinking about all of this now after you've already told Karen, man, you are an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, that was really stupid, Zach. But anyway, and then there's this whole little exchange they have because he got morning wood. And she's looking down like, is it like that in the morning all the time? And the two of them, there's a whole little thing with them. I said, oh, y'all are so nasty. So nasty, but Miss Danny, I see why you having such a hard time, child. In between Zach and Preston, girl, no comment. Don't judge me. Let's move on. Anyway, so Andy and Karen, they're over there talking, and she tells her about the fight, and then she tells her the preacher kissed me, and Andy. This is the thing. With Andy, how I run into this thing where I don't always feel sorry for Andy for the stuff that she goes through because Andy, something's up with Andy's moral compass. No matter how messed up things is, she always kind of goes back to wanting to have this love connection, even though she know the love connection ain't right. Because she's telling her basically go for it with Aaron. And she's like, the preacher kissed me. She's like, good. She's like, no. She's like, he kissed me the same day that his wife killed herself. Like, there's something up with Andy's moral compass. I'm telling you. Something up with her. Anyway, so let's go over Maurice and Sabrina's at work. Again, another long, drawn-out Tyler Perry scene. They're mad. She's mad at him. He basically ended up telling her that he loves her and that he's sorry. She accepted the apology. That's the long and short of it. We ain't doing all that. And he said, you need to call him. You need to call him. She's like, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Later on that day at work, Sabrina gets a visit from this older white man named Lyle, who happens to be Calvin's dad. Now, it's another long, drawn-out Tyler Perry scene, but we needed it because we found out about Calvin. Calvin's mom was a nurse, and she knew Lyle and his husband, and she begged them to actually take him. She had cancer, and she begged them to take Calvin and raise Calvin for her. He goes on to tell about the trials and tribulations of Calvin growing up and how he was teased as a child and this, that, thing, and the other, and told, please call him. He's really upset. He really likes you, and please don't tell him I came. So it was a long scene, but we had to go through it. We needed to go through it. That's that. Okay. Zach and Andy and Helena at work. Listen, this little airport they work in, baby, is just too much. There's too much going on at this damn airport. Zach tells her about, what he thinks about the whole timeline and this, that, and the other, and he don't know if she's really pregnant or this, that, thing, and the other. She's going back and forth with him, and he told her, he says, listen, let's go pee-pee. And he pulls out a damn pregnancy test out of his bag and tells her, we're going to go pee-pee. And she's looking at him like, and he goes saying, don't start that crying shit. Let's go. When I tell you I fell out, baby. He took and escorted her hand in hand to the bathroom. I said, oh my God, I can't wait to see what actually happens with that next week. But when he told her, and don't start all that crying shit, I damn near fell out. You hear me? I said, this is too much. So anyway, let's go to work. Fatima, which is a receptionist, she sidetracks Andy coming in, and she says, I don't like this bullshit. And I know I might be out of order, but I just don't like this. They've been walking around all day, and I don't like this bullshit. And Andy's like, don't worry about it, Fatima. She says, they're waiting on you in the conference room. And she's like, what? Baby, listen, let me tell you something. When she hit that glass and looked in that conference room, Tyler, you got me. I said, oh, Tyler, you did a good job. Baby, when I looked in there, baby, it was the husband, the wife, and old boy from the club, the lawyer. I said, so he was baiting her? What? I cannot wait till next week to see what the whole story is with him. A whole dirt. So was he what? He was going to bang Andy out and then know that he is all scheduled to set her up the next day? Baby, I can't wait to hear what they got to say. This was Sistas, episode 15, baby. The ending was everything on this one for me. I said, oh, Tyler, you did good. I'll catch y'all next week now.